Welcome to the Mixology of Real Estate, where agents talk about the recipes that work to build a successful business while mixing the perfect cocktail. Welcome your host, Stephen Votino.
Hi, welcome to another episode of the Mixology of Real Estate. I'm Stephen Votino, and we're here with Adam No, and we're coming to you from the Oak City Meatball Shop in downtown Raleigh, my absolute favorite restaurant in Raleigh.
Don't you own part owner in this?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
Okay.
That's just a rumor. That's just a rumor.
Okay.
It's a delicious restaurant. You should come
okay.
and check it out. And have great drinks here too.
No bias.
So anyhow, we're going to make today an old-fashioned with a little twist with maple syrup, and we're going to talk about business planning, everyone's favorite subject, because I know all you real estate agents out there business plan all the time.
Sure we do.
So let's get started. Let's start with the drink, and
right.
We're going to make this old-fashioned, one of my absolute favorites, and we're going to start with 2 ounces of bourbon.
Alrighty.
And we chose to go with a rye today because you can do a rye or regular bourbon. So we're going to do 2 ounces. So we've got our, here we go, we've got our things here.
Is that our 2 ounces?
I think that's 1.5 ounces, and this is 2 ounces.
Okay.
Or something like that. So
Pour a little heavy on mine.
yeah. Looking good. Very good pouring.
It's all in the wrist.
So as we're talking about business planning, Adam, wow, that's pretty impressive. He went for the 3 ounce pour. I'm going to stick to the 2 ounces because, he's taller than me. He has more weight, so he can carry it better than I can. So Adam, his business really took off last year, and he started recognizing that he really needs a plan of attack and get some. And so can you walk us through what made you have that decision? You need to start looking at a business plan, and what are some of the things you started looking at, and what drove you to do that?
Yeah, so I really found, that I needed to go into it with a plan. First, second year, I kind of was just dabbling in it a little bit. And when it, came year 3, things started really picking up. And that's when I was like,
that magic third year for some reason that I keep hearing about.
Something about the third year. I don't know what it is, but third year just kind of came up, and I was, started getting towards the end, and I realized that, I was kind of just winging it, and couldn't wing it anymore. So decided that I needed to, kind of put something together that, made sense and that was going to work for me, and, figure out what it was that I, wanted to make my niche, I guess.
Right. So you need a plan, a recipe, if you will.
Yep.
So let's get back to our recipe here. And this next thing we need for this is a 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of maple syrup.
All right.
I'll let you have the honors. I love maple syrup. It's part of my 4 food groups.
Got it all over. But...
There we go. They should put maple syrup on everything. It's really good with bacon, pancakes, eggs, liquor, just about everything. Okay, great.
Agreed.
So what did you start focusing on? What was part of your process of building your plan?
Yeah. So I started to realize, where was my time best spent? And, you get a lot of people tell you, what worked for them. And I really needed to find out what worked for me. And I found that my niche was VA loans and, veterans. So that's kind of what I started to focus on, and also my sphere of influence. And it worked out for me.
So one of the key things Adam's talking about is really kind of understanding who your customer is. A lot of times as new agents, we'll chase things around trying to build a business. But once we start building a business, we generally realize that we have a sphere of influence or a farm or a niche like veterans, because you're a veteran yourself and you relate with them,
right.
And work well with them, and start honing in on that particular customer. Not that you're not open to other things,
right?
But you're going to spend some more time building that part of your business. And that brings you a lot of joy, right? Because you're helping a fellow veteran.
Keeps me involved in the community. I'm not doing it anymore, so it's a way of connecting with other veterans.
So let's add some bitters. I think we need 2 dashes. I'm going to do 1, 2, and then you're going to have a couple of those in there. So now we've got our bitters, we've got our bourbon, we got our maple syrup, and so we got that in there. And then it says we need to stir to combine it. So I'll let you have the honors. Excellent. I'm going to stir mine. Yours is a lot taller than mine. Look at that. And then it says we need to add some ice cubes. So, okay, you narrowed down. That you're going to spend a lot of time with your veterans. You're going to do some more focus on that.
Right.
You're getting a game plan together. What's the next step?
Now it's just kind of scaling it. I've found out
To do that.
where my time has been best spent, and now it's okay. Well, how much more time can I add to it? And I have found that constantly keeping up with those clients, and also my sphere has almost doubled itself this year. So I definitely think that's where my time is best spent.
Great. Well, all right. Next step is to garnish with an orange peel, and we can start drinking this lovely concoction here.
Take one.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I've practiced this before, cutting these oranges, and I cut my finger. It was a lot of fun. Don't try it at home, folks. Just leave it to your bartenders. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Let's taste this. It looks good.
It smells
good. That's really good. Perfect.
Right now.
So, did you spend time? Okay, you're focusing on your veterans, your sphere of influence. You're building that part of it.
Right.
That part of your plan. And do you have a plan of attack? What the actions you're going to do? Did you start looking at your expenses? What was next?
I did. Well, funny enough, my expenses were very small within year 3. I really didn't put a lot into it. And then I also realized that, you need to also spend money in order to make more money. So
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, funny concept. So I really started to realize that I needed to put money towards myself and my branding. So signage was a big thing, personalizing that, getting my name out there. I really like to also my gifts for my veteran, for closings. I like to spend a little bit more than I probably should, but I've gotten a lot of really good feedback out of it because I try to personalize it to them. Things that we may have talked about during the buying process.
Right, because you're making a connection with them. We always talk about, you're making a connection with your clients, hopefully, and that you're going to have them a client for life and get referral business. So
exactly.
If you know your client, in fact, I used to do that when I was an agent, and I used to try to personalize the gifts because when I get to know them, it's kind of like when you get to that closing. You've had a good experience, and now I get to know you a little bit personally, and then I wrap that up with bringing you something personal,
right.
Let you know I did listen, I have connected with you, and I want to continue this relationship.
Exactly. It's not just a Lowe's gift card, hey, go and get some house stuff, for the house or anything like that. It's there's a little bit more thought in it.
Yeah, gee, thanks, Adam. You stopped at the store and bought a quick gift card.
Exactly. Yeah. No. None of that. So I found that, maybe spending a little bit more on that kind of stuff, it's actually paid off for me, and I've gotten referrals out of it because of, the personalized thought that I put into it.
But part of those actions and goals and things you're building into that plan is making sure the customer also has a great experience. And don't kid yourself that that should not be part of a plan.
Right.
And part of one of the things we do with our agents, with our plans, is we have them create a mission, a vision, and values, because companies have them. Guess what? You're a company, you're
right.
a business, so why shouldn't you have them? And that helps build what you're delivering to the consumer, your client, that experience.
Exactly.
You did that, so you start looking at what you were spending, and I guess you said you weren't spending a lot before, so you didn't really have an opportunity to probably look at return on investment. So are you upping your budget as far as what you're spending, and are you measuring what you're spending versus your return?
I am. Funny enough, it's when you're not spending anything, it's kind of hard to jump into it and measure what it was that you weren't spending previously. So didn't really have a good idea on my ROI just yet. So I'm hoping this year that will kind of change. But I felt like how much I needed to kind of put away and kind of put towards my business this year, and next year will kind of be that year that I'll be able to assess and if I need to do more or if I need to do less, and kind of see where that works for me.
Great. And so one of the things we do, especially with new agents, is or even experienced agents, really, it's like we start with how much money do you want to make this year, and a lot of times agents bucket that into, well, I want to make, let's say, $100,000, but they're not considering their commission split. They're not considering their expenses and other things that go into it. So when you say $100,000, what does that really mean? In order to take home $100,000, what do you actually have to generate in revenue? What you need to factor in is, if you really want to make a certain take home, you need to back into that. Like, how many units do I got to sell? You got to understand your average price point. how many units minus your commission, minus the expenses you have in order to get to that take-home pay. And a lot of times we end up a lot shorter than we expected, even though we got to that revenue piece, we didn't actually get to the take-home piece. So understanding how many units that you have to sell. So when we're going through business planning now, we are looking at that. We are looking at the goals and the actions to meet that particular plan so we can hit that number. And we can measure that throughout the year. So if let's say we need 20 units to make $100,000 take home, where are we after the first quarter or the second quarter? Do we need to play catch up? Do we need to plan even more because we're ahead of schedule?
Right.
What are we spending money on? What's working? What's not working? So as each year builds, we can start looking back on where's that business coming from? What are we getting the best bang for a buck? What do we need to discontinue? What do we need to ramp up more? Right? And there's a lot of times where we're sitting and doing these business plans where, you have an agent that's been in the business for a while and you can see a consistency of where business is coming from. I remember sitting down 2 years ago with one of our agents and realized she was closing anywhere from 3 to 5 off phone duty every year. So we can consistently put in her business plan 4 closings from phone duty and feel very comfortable with that, or even try to plan it up by maybe working on her conversion skills. So it's things like that that we can start looking at and actually planning toward and setting actions to versus just, as you said before, winging it.
Right. Yep.
Which is unfortunately what a lot of agents do, even in our firm. And we're trying to change that. I mean, I always tell our guys, you're a business. You have to look at yourself as a business. You're an entrepreneur. You got to think of yourself as an entrepreneur. And I commend you for really starting to recognize that and starting taking those steps that you need to build a business plan so that you're moving forward and building your business and doing more sales. You're going to be able to scale up your expenses that get the right return on investment and keep growing your business. So cheers. Thanks for tuning in again for another episode of Mixology Real Estate from my absolute favorite restaurant in downtown Raleigh, Oak City Meatball Shop.